Most people think money problems disappear when income goes up. They imagine one day they'll cross some invisible line, and suddenly everything will feel stable. But that line doesn't exist. There are people earning six figures who feel one flat tire away from panic. And there are people earning far less who sleep like their bills are handled. Same city, same age, same opportunities, completely different outcomes. Not because of luck, not because of talent, because of how they relate to money. Let me show you how this actually plays out. Picture someone who looks successful on the outside. Nice apartment in a trendy neighborhood. Clean car parked outside. Tech job. Good salary. Photos that look like life is moving forward. From the outside, this person looks ahead of the game. But behind the scenes, the bank balance drops low before every paycheck. There's stress around small surprises. A random expense changes the mood of the entire week. Money feels tight even though income looks impressive. Now picture someone else. Smaller place. Older car. Nothing flashy. No dramatic upgrades. No performance of success. But their savings quietly grow. Unexpected expenses don't cause panic. They don't think about money every time someone mentions a bill. They make decisions from calm, not from pressure. Here's the part that messes with people's heads. The second person earns way less, but lives with way more financial peace. This isn't about sacrifice. It's about invisible habits. Because money doesn't disappear in dramatic ways. It leaks, slowly, quietly, through decisions that feel normal. Most people don't lose wealth. They never build it in the first place. What drains people financially is not one big mistake. It's dozens of tiny patterns, repeated without awareness. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Most people have never decided what enough actually means. They have goals, but not limits. They say they want more, but they never define how much is sufficient. So whatever they earn becomes the new normal, and then the new normal starts to feel tight. So the goal moves again. More becomes baseline. Baseline becomes pressure. Pressure becomes lifestyle. That's how someone earning a high income can feel broke. The goalpost keeps running. If you don't decide what enough looks like, your spending will decide it for you. And spending has no finish line. Another invisible drain. Every purchase has two costs. The one you pay today, and the future you give up. Money doesn't just disappear when you spend it. It loses the chance to grow. That coffee habit, that convenience upgrade, that monthly service you barely use. Each one steals a little from future freedom. Not in a dramatic way, in a slow way, in a way that never shows up on a receipt. Most people think they're buying comfort. They're actually selling options. The next pattern is identity spending. This one is sneaky. A lot of purchases aren't about function. They're about self-image. Not consciously, but emotionally. We buy things to feel established, to feel ahead, to feel like we're doing well. Even when no one is really watching, we still perform success to ourselves. Social media amplifies this. You see other people's highlights. Your brain compares automatically, and suddenly something in your life feels slightly inadequate. That feeling gets a price tag, and retailers know exactly how to attach it. Most people don't realize. They're not buying objects. They're buying reassurance. And reassurance is expensive. Then there's impulse. The moment where logic turns off. The feeling of wanting something peaks fast and fades fast. If the purchase can happen instantly, the emotion wins. That's why friction changes behavior. Not discipline, not motivation. Distance weakens impulse. Delay breaks the spell. Most things people needed in the moment, they forget about days later. The problem isn't desire. It's speed. Slowing down spending automatically improves financial outcomes, even without changing what you eventually buy. Another drain. Upgrading things that still work. Not because they're broken, because they feel old. This habit doesn't look irresponsible. It looks normal. Phones, cars, furniture, tech, all slightly newer, all slightly shinier, all slightly unnecessary. Nothing individually feels wasteful, but the pattern quietly eats long-term security. The cost isn't the item. It's the repetition. Then there's the chain reaction effect. One upgrade makes everything else feel outdated. New couch. Now the room feels wrong. New TV. Now the furniture doesn't match. New phone. Now the accessories feel old. It never feels like one decision. It feels like fixing mismatches. But the mismatches were created by the first upgrade. This is how lifestyles expand without intention, and budgets stretch without noticing. Subscriptions are another leak. Small charges, low attention, high accumulation. Because they're tiny, they escape emotional detection. You don't feel them. You just feel broke. The money leaves. Quietly. Monthly. Without asking again. Another trap. Raises that never build wealth. When income increases, spending slowly rises to meet it. Not instantly, but inevitably. What used to feel like a treat becomes normal, then invisible. And invisible spending doesn't feel like spending. It just feels like life. That's how people can double their income and still feel exactly the same. The number changed. The experience didn't. Then there's the willpower myth. The idea that people who are good with money are just more disciplined. They're not. They've removed decisions. When saving happens automatically, there's no daily debate, no internal negotiation, no emotional fatigue. Structure beats intention. Tracking everything is another place people burn out. Too complex, too much maintenance, too easy to abandon. What actually matters is one thing: the gap between what comes in and what goes out. If that gap grows, your future grows. If that gap shrinks, your future shrinks. Everything else is noise. Another reframe that changes behavior. Money is time. Every dollar represents hours of life. You already traded. Spending is choosing how much of your future time you're giving to that thing. When you see purchases as time, not money, some things stop feeling worth it. And some things feel even more valuable. This isn't about guilt. It's about clarity. And finally, there's something deeper than income or net worth. How long could you live if income stopped? Without changing your lifestyle? Not hypothetically. Specifically, that number is your freedom window. When that window is short, every problem feels dangerous. Every job feels mandatory. Every risk feels terrifying. When that window grows, your nervous system relaxes. Your decisions improve. Your life feels less fragile. That's what financial stability actually is. Not wealth, not status, not appearance. Margin. Room to breathe. Room to adapt. Room to make choices without panic. From the outside, the flashy life looks impressive. From the inside, the quiet life feels powerful. One is performance. The other is peace. Most people chase performance because it's visible. Very few people build peace because it's invisible. But peace compounds. Stress compounds too. One grows options. The other shrinks them. The difference is never income. It's patterns. Tiny decisions. Repeated. Unnoticed. Over years. The good news: you don't have to fix everything. Change one pattern, and the direction of your financial life shifts. Not overnight, but permanently. Your future isn't built by dramatic moments. It's built by boring consistency. The version of you who feels calm about money doesn't earn more. They leak less. They protect margin. They delay impulse. They choose intentionally. They build systems. They define enough. That version of you already exists. You just have to start acting like them. Most people don't change because nothing is wrong enough. They're uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough. So they delay. They tell themselves they'll fix their finances later. After the next raise. After the next bonus. After things calm down. But life rarely calms down. It just changes shape. The bills don't stop. The temptations don't stop. The comparison doesn't stop. What actually changes people is a moment of clarity. A quiet realization that the stress they feel isn't temporary. It's structural. And structural problems don't fix themselves. Here's something subtle. Financial stress isn't loud all the time. It hums in the background. It shows up as impatience, as low-level anxiety, as checking your account more often than you'd like to admit, as that tiny tension when someone suggests an unplanned expense. You might not call it stress. You might just call it normal. But normal is not healthy. There's a difference between being careful with money and being afraid of money. One comes from control. The other comes from fragility. People with margin move differently. They're not reckless. They're not flashy. They're not anxious either. They can say no without guilt. They can say yes without panic. They don't mentally calculate every small purchase. That mental freedom is the real upgrade. Most people try to solve money stress by earning more. But stress isn't caused by income. It's caused by pressure. Pressure comes from obligations, from fixed costs, from commitments that can't bend. When your life is rigid, any small shock feels huge. Flexibility is the hidden luxury. Not objects, not upgrades, options. The ability to walk away. The ability to wait. The ability to choose slower paths. The ability to say this isn't right for me. Those abilities don't come from salary. They come from space. Space in your calendar. Space in your bank account. Space in your mind. That space is built quietly, when no one is watching. No one claps for you when you keep the old phone. No one compliments you for skipping an impulse buy. No one notices when you invest instead of upgrade. The rewards of those choices show up later. In calmer decisions. In better sleep. In fewer emergencies turning into crises. Most people live inside financial noise. Constant notifications. Constant charges. Constant small leaks. They don't realize how loud their financial environment is until it goes quiet. That quiet feels strange at first, almost boring. There's no rush, no urgency, no emotional roller coaster, just stability. Stability isn't exciting, but it's powerful. It changes how you show up at work, how you handle conflict, how you approach relationships, how you take risks. When you're not financially cornered, you don't accept bad situations as easily. You don't stay in jobs that drain you. You don't tolerate environments that disrespect you. You don't rush decisions out of fear. Money margin creates emotional margin. An emotional margin changes your life more than money ever does. This is why two people can live in the same city, with similar backgrounds, and experience completely different levels of stress. One optimized for appearance, the other optimized for breathing room. One chased upgrades, the other protected space. From the outside, only one of those choices looks impressive. From the inside, only one of them feels free. Most people will never be taught this, because it doesn't sell well. There's no product attached, no flashy transformation, no overnight miracle, just small shifts, repeated, quietly, relentlessly. That's not viral content, but it's how stability is built. And once you feel that stability, you stop chasing noise. You stop needing to prove anything. You stop buying reassurance. You stop upgrading boredom. You stop performing success. You start choosing what actually adds peace. That's when money becomes a tool, not a source of tension. And that's the moment your financial life actually begins to compound. Not just in your account, but in how you experience your days. A strange thing happens. When you stop leaking money, time slows down. Not literally, but emotionally. You're not rushing decisions. You're not reacting to every offer. You're not feeling behind all the time. That constant feeling of being chased by your own expenses fades. You start to move from choice instead of pressure. Most people don't realize how much of their personality is shaped by financial tension. They think that edge they carry is just who they are. But a lot of it is just living with no margin. When the margin grows, your patience grows, your confidence grows, your clarity grows. Not because you became wiser, but because your nervous system is no longer in survival mode. Survival mode shrinks your world. It makes you short-term. It makes you reactive. It makes everything feel urgent. Big promises, big resets, big emotional moments. But real financial change looks almost invisible. It looks like fewer impulsive choices, fewer emotional reactions, more default good decisions. Nobody notices this version of growth. Not your coworkers, not your friends, not social media, but your future self notices. Every single day, one of the strangest shifts that happens when you start building margin is how your relationship with time changes. You stop rushing weekends. You stop feeling like every moment has to be maximized. You stop trying to squeeze meaning out of consumption. You start finding satisfaction in stability, in routine, in predictability. Predictability sounds boring until you realize it means fewer emergencies, fewer surprises that wreck your month, fewer financial arguments, fewer late-night anxiety spirals. Most people think excitement comes from upgrades, but peace comes from reliability. When your finances are stable, you stop feeling the need to escape your life. You stop fantasizing about radical changes. You stop wishing things were different. You start improving what already exists. That's a powerful shift, because improvement compounds. Escape resets you to zero. Stability gives you leverage. Not just with money, with choices. You can leave situations that don't fit. You can wait for better opportunities. You can say no without fear. You can say yes without panic. That kind of leverage is invisible, but it's the foundation of real freedom. From the outside, it looks uneventful. From the inside, it feels like control. And control isn't about controlling everything. It's about not being controlled by money. When money stops controlling your reactions, your life stops feeling like a series of emergencies and starts feeling like a direction you chose. That's the moment. You're no longer chasing stability. You're living from it. Most people feel like they're doing okay with money. They pay their bills. They work hard. They don't spend recklessly. So why does it always feel like you're stuck? Like your bank balance never really moves forward. In this video, you'll finally understand the real rules of the money system no one ever taught you. Why saving alone isn't enough. Why your money quietly loses value. How small monthly decisions compound into massive long-term outcomes. Why debt grows faster than your investments. How lifestyle upgrades keep you trapped. And how ordinary people build financial stability without getting rich overnight. This isn't about getting rich quick. This is about stopping the silent leaks in your finances, so you can build real momentum over time. If you've ever wondered why your money disappears, why raises don't change your life, or why you always feel behind, this video will change how you see money forever. Watch till the end, then pick one small move, because one small change today can shift the direction of your entire financial future.